So when I was in America, every piece of meat that was shechted immediately received a tag saying it was nishchat. Then they took this purple dye or ink, which is terribly unhealthy, and wrote all over the animal what day it was shechted and various other things to identify that this is a behemoth that was shechted. Then they did the bedika. They do an examination of the lungs. First, the shoichet rolls up his sleeve, sticks his arm into the lung cavity, feels the different parts of it, if any are connected, and so on and so forth. Hopefully there are no connections, then it's really glat. Or there are only a few little connections, and then we call it glat even though it's not. Or it has some bigger connections, and we will take the lung out, and we will examine it, and we will blow it up, and hopefully no bubbles will be seen in the water, and then we will declare it kosher. And then we put another tag on it. The other tag will say glat, or it will say kosher, and we will also continue to write information on the meat. So here we can pass around this bag full of pieces of the meat. We soak and salt all of our own meat, and in the process, bli neder, bli geter, bli shvu, bli kabbalah, bli ein hara, and in the process, I cut off these things because my wife said, "You don't want to eat that purple ink, do you?" And I said, "No, of course not." And so we brought it in for show and tell. Yayin. Here's my trusty bottle of wine.
One question.
Yes.
Well, by the tuna plant in Israel, is it the same plant where the badats and
The star-kissed, as far as I know, and I haven't been there, I want to be there, but I have never been there. As far as I know, it's all one plant. And whether they really check each fish, I've heard contradictory information, even in regard to the Eideh Charedes. And nothing that I'm showing you, except one thing here, is something that I'm telling you, this I know 100% you're allowed to eat. We'll see that soon. Okay, so I have a bottle of wine here. Again, on the back, I have an Eideh Charedes. On the cork itself, it says the name of the winery. First of all, if a wine bottle doesn't have a cork, bechlal, you know it's an inferior kind of wine. And if it doesn't have the name of the winery on the cork, even among the cork wine is not that great. Okay, so they put a cork with their own name on it, and then they put something over the top. And again, I mean, this wine, somebody brought it to our house because they wanted to drink it at our house. I never drink any wine anyway. The only great product that I consume, bli neder, except b'shas adchak, is grape juice made by my wife. So suppose, for instance, we only drank part of the bottle of wine. Now we are going on the airplane. We want to have a little something to drink on the airplane, and so on. If we can get this through security, which we can't anymore, so I'll put it in the suitcase, and the TSA guys are going to open up my suitcase, and they're going to manasech my wine. So how do I seal this wine again so that it'll be kosher at the other end, forgetting about the issue that it's going to spill out all over my Shabbos shirt? What?
It's boiled. It's muvushal, right?
I wouldn't say that. You can't assume that this one says that it's mavushal, yes. It says mavushal al yedei pistur. So pasteurized wine is a machlokas whether that's called mavushal or not. All right, I thought it was a good bottle of wine, but you're right, it's mavushal. Maybe. Okay, so I will reach into my trusty bag of tricks. These used to be made out of lead, but since health concerns, they now make them out of some junk metal. I put it on the top. Don't really have to have one of these things, but I was in a grocery store 2 days ago. Was that Shabbos? Not on Shabbos. Not on Shabbos. So today's Monday? Maybe it was yesterday. In any case, there was a bottle of wine which had this exact same symbol on the top, meaning this is a totally generic symbol. It's no proof of anything. So to make this a foolproof kashrus thing, I will take my trusty masking tape, making sure that it's not the junky kind that has no glue left on it. And I will do two things. I will put a piece of tape this way. Three things, actually. Then I will put a piece of tape the other way. Not very good.
How the TSA guys are for sure to know.
Yes, well, the truth is these days with the TSA, it's not a good idea to travel b'chlal. Well, you have a choice. Either you appear on a porn show, or you are given a very physical relationship with the guard. So it's not a good system. Okay, so I put on the second piece of tape, put in a little beard just for good measure, and I have DNA testing on the wine. All right. I tear it off. Then I take out my pen. You know, it says pen yifteh. And I've got all these junctures here, right? The places where the tape overlaps. And I sign my initials. And I do it lots of times. Now, anyone who wants to mezayef, wants to forge this, I say, give it a good try. So now I can put this down, I can pick it up. This has got good chesamos on it, because you can't remove this tape and preserve the way my initials went over the overlap. So I know when I come to open this again, this is my kosher wine. Nobody did any tricks with it. All right, choves, we said, chatichas dag, basar, yayin, techeles. So this is the techeles. It comes in one of these plastic sealed bags, which anybody can seal. The plastic sealed bag does not impress me in the slightest. Then they have their printed in niputz lishma. That's another machlokas, and we paskin you don't need niputz lishma, but I try to have it. And then inside, I'm not going to open this right now because I'm going to take this on the airplane. They have where the techeles is attached, or sticking through a hole here. They have another label over it. So they are considering this to be two chosamas. I'm not saying whether I do or not. However, I buy these from a Shomer Shabbos Jew, and they never passed out of the hands of a Shomer Shabbos Jew, so I really don't get into the issue. It says techeles is only bought from a mumche, so to the extent that we have mumchim today, that's what I get it from, directly. And so I don't really have an issue, but that is what they're doing to make the two chotamot. So we've got cholav, chatichas dag, basar, yayin, techeles is chovis, right? Now, this is the way it really should be done. This is lox. I'll read you a little bit of the label here. First of all, this is my initials, hand done. This is my seal as the Av Basin of Beverly Hills. Salman lox, kosher mahadrin min mahadrin la'anshe ula anshe emes. Mahadrin, you know. Mahadrin min mahadrin, you know. Anshe emes are the people who are going to the last drop. Tachas pikuch tamidi ufet samud. So the speaker last week said could have it's called hashgacha tamidis means he's there regularly, but not necessarily tzamud, not necessarily all the time. So this is pikuach. I didn't say hashgacha. I said pikuach. Why? Because my wife made it, and I was there, but I can't give hashgacha on myself, and I can't give hashgacha on my wife. But I was watching. Pikuach tamidi ufet samud shel yirei shamayim anshe emes. Mishas hasaras hakaskasim ad chasimas ha'arizah. From the time of removing the scales until the chasima was put on. Hadag nikna b'chanut im hechsher shel eid charedis. Right? Yechiel talks about this all the time. I can tell you I bought it in the eid charedis, but unless the eid charedis gives a tu'udah, it doesn't have the hechsher of the eid charedis. Ha'eid charedis me'idin she'en chashash shel tolas anisakis o shar tolaim. Ushein bo tzvaim o dvarim acherim shegormim chashash bekashrus. No coloring added that could be not kosher. No worms. Hadag v'nimlach b'melach im hechsher shel ha'ed charedis. We used ed charedis salt too. Aval me'achar sheyatsa min hachanut ha'ed hacharedis lo achraim ala kashrus. Since it went out of the store, the Eid Charedis takes no responsibility whatsoever. If you show this to the Ravad and the Gavad of the Beis Din Tzedek of the Eid Charedis and ask them, are you allowed to eat it? They'll say, I don't know. Because they don't. Because they didn't take achrayas for this. I took it out of their store. We took it off of the scales and the fins. And therefore they have no achrayas. I'm telling you, me to you, and you can believe me or not, that this was bought in an Eid Charedis store. But they don't take any achrayas. Elahu kosher b'toras eid echad ne'eman be'isurim. We have a klal in kashrus. One witness is sufficient in matters of isur v'heter. If I want to make him pay me money, I need two witnesses. If I want to say that she's a mugareshes, I need two witnesses. Kashrus eid echad ne'eman. One witness is believed, and they say afilu rabbi. Even a rabbi is believed in kashrus. Nasa ayidei rabbanit shel harav Tsvi ben Mordechai Rogin min kadmas dino abeis. Don't need that. Machil dag salmon melech pilpil shachor bilvad lo mu'ushan lishmor b'karer. All right. Now you'll see we've got initials here, initials here, initials there. This bag is just an extra bag because we put it in the freezer. Don't need that bag, and that bag therefore doesn't have any chosamos. And you can even pass it around. And that is we'll call it mahadrin minahadrin way of making the chosamas, because you only really need two. But if somebody could get in here and switch it, I'd like to see how. Maybe Harry Houdini. The opposite extreme. Where's the envelope? Another. Yeah, missing. Bad. Missing a whole envelope full of chosamas. We went into the supermarkets. Gittel, do you know where the envelope went?
Huh?
I'm telling my wife. Do you know where the envelope is?
Sorry, what?
The envelope.
It's not in there?
Nope. All right. Anyway, we went into 3 different supermarkets to see what the matzav was, how they packaged, or how they did the chasimas on the meat. So you can see what we got here. Tudas Hechsher, Certificado de Kosher, Chalak Mukhshar, and Basa Bakar Tachun 100% TV. That's what we have here in this package. Because you could just reach into the freezer case and pull out these labels from 7 different kashrus organizations, just lying there in the freezer loose. Some of them fell off of the packages of meat. Some of them came out of the boxes. And you can see it's very easy to reuse them. And they are totally, absolutely meaningless. And it was not limited to only shvacha hechsherim. This is from the she'eris, which is considered one of the better hechsherim. I'm not saying it is, it's just considered. The way that she'eris packages the meat, and when we first came to Israel, we asked the people in our kvutza, we were getting the Eid HaCharedis, which is like buying the high-priced spread. And they said, you could buy the she'eris, because it's 100% chalak, glat, and it's much cheaper. And it is much cheaper. Well, let's just say this was a complete bag, right? Now, a plumba comes from the Latin word meaning lead. And I used to have lead seals, metal piece on the wing of a chicken, and on the cows, and so on. So they still call that a plumba. So she'eris puts the meat inside a bag. This happens to be, from meat. And they put the plumba over here on the bottom of the bag. And they have a wire on the top of the bag. Well, hello, I can defrost it. I can take off this wire. I can take out the piece of she'eris meat. And I can sell it to a guy who's makbid to eat only she'eris meat. And I can put anything in this bag that I want and just put another metal wire on top. And nobody will be able to tell the difference. There's a store in Los Angeles called the Kosher Club. And when they opened up, on these 2 loose tags were inside, which again are meaningless. When this store opened up in Los Angeles, I took my wife, I said, we're going to go to the store. We are only going to look, we are not even going to buy a package of cookies. And they had all kinds of vacuum-packed meat with all kinds of tu'udot hechsher. I said, all I have to do is take this home, defrost it. I've got a vacuum pack sealer myself, and we can put anything we want. So here I put plastic lizards in the bag instead of putting a piece of pork, because I didn't want to go into the pork store. But and besides, the plastic lizards are cheaper than the pork. But it's easy to do, and there's big bucks in this. Big bucks. Just to give you an idea of how much bucks, you know how much you pay for kosher meat. If you're from America, you know how much you paid for kosher meat in America. A friend of mine, of Gavril Cohen, he should live me well, a long, happy life, made a shechita in Los Angeles. And I went to the shechita. And you had Rav Gavril Cohen, the Rav Machshir, you had the wholesaler of the meat, you had the owner of the shlachtois, of the slaughterhouse, and you had another guy, and the shoichet, all making money off of the